Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football. Our Turf. God, this has been my day. Our Turf Football Podcast. I'm Dana. I know my own name. That's Sonia. I know her name too.
Hi, guys.
Sorry, it has just been a day here in Kansas City. But welcome. We're so glad that you guys are here with us and are ready to talk football because Sonia, there's a football game this week.
Isn't that exciting?
2 days. I don't know.
2 days.
I know. It's the Hall of Fame game. So, right, we're going to give it a
Temper
minute.
your expectations.
Right, exactly. But at the same time, it'll be exciting. We'll get to see some of the new players and get to see all the backups for the Jets.
Exactly.
Not going to see anybody else. You got Cleveland, which is great because, as most of you guys probably already know, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is just down the street from Cleveland. So it is going to be packed with Browns fans, and that's going to be awesome. Plus, as we are going to discuss later, Joe Thomas is being inducted. So it's going to be Browns crazy at the
It's going to be Brownstown there.
Right, for sure. Before we get started, of course, we want to thank Donkeys, Donkeys Place, our sponsor for our podcast every single year. They are the best cheesesteaks in New Jersey, and this is our third season with them, and we appreciate them so much for sponsoring us. Our Fantasy Football League is going to kick off here again pretty soon, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Donkeys Cup trophy has been delivered. I've got it. It is ready for whoever wins, and it is a good one this year. So and that league is full. So sorry, anyone who's just
sorry guys,
for the first time
full.
Now. Yeah, it's full up, but you can always join us again next year. So thank you, Donkeys. They have 3 locations: Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. So please check them out for sure. All right. We've been starting out this season. We've been talking a lot about like the hot topics or the things that kind of came up for the day. And I put my foot in my mouth last week and I said, offseason hasn't had very much drama. It's been kind of mellow this year. Like there wasn't any big, June 1 cuts. There wasn't anything. It's just been kind of like meh. This week made up for it, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow. Got a little spicy. Definitely in training camp and in the NFL this week. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. But before we get started, I do want to talk about a few injuries because I think it's important that we keep on top of those. There are 3 really kind of big ones this week. Not that every injury isn't important. I'm not saying that. But there are 3 really big ones. First one, of course, is the injury to Joe Burrow. Now, apparently, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, apparently, he is going to be okay. He's going to miss some time, but it's not like season ending. He will be okay. It was a little scary, though, because he was carted off the field. And I think the entire team was like, because that changes the entire dynamic of the AFC if Joe Burrow is injured. But it looks like he will hopefully be ready to go for week 1. I think his training camp is done, but I think that he'll be ready to go week 1. The other big news was, of course, Jalen Ramsey, who's now with the Miami Dolphins, had surgery for a meniscus tear. He is going to miss some time. And it is, he says, tell me how much time I'm going to miss and I will turn around and take a month off of it. Well, you don't get that choice, Jalen, but he is definitely going to miss significant time. Now, the Dolphins turned around and grabbed Eli Apple and picked him up. They also have some pretty good depth. I'm spacing, so I'm going to look it up right here. I have it right here. They have, let's see. Oh, Xavier Howard, of course, in there too. And so they've got some depth in there. They'll be okay, but he was going to be their new kind of power player. And that's really disappointing for fans. And then this one just came out today. And Sonia, this one breaks my heart. Tim. Yes. Oh, poor Tim. Yeah. So Tim Patrick, he's a wide receiver, obviously, for the Denver Broncos. Last year in preseason, he tore his Achilles. This year in training camp, he has torn his Achilles. He's going to miss this entire season. 2 seasons in a row that he is missing for the Denver Broncos. Huge loss for them. I mean, this and what a gut punch. I'm a big enough baby. I'd probably be like, I'm gonna quit. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Exactly. Right. I probably would do the same, but I at least would not do anything in the off season, or if I did, my leg would be in bubble wrap.
I know. It's kind of crazy. So I feel really bad for him. I feel bad for Broncos fans. It just was kind of a big like I said, kind of a gut punch. You're getting to start over. You got a
Yeah.
new head coach. You're going to kind of get to finally roll with your new quarterback and see what happens. And he's not going to be there for them. So that's too bad. We'll kind of keep track of these bigger injuries throughout the weeks as we go. And then obviously once the season starts, we'll keep closer track to them too, for everyone. But speaking of the Broncos head coach, there's a little sauciness that happened this weekend. It was real interesting. So it was an USA Today, I believe is who it was, interview of Sean Payton, the new Denver Broncos head coach. And he decided to just let it all out. He verbal vomited all of it, right?
Right.
He decided that he was just going to lay it out there. He said, Russell Wilson had too much power and that the entire team was crap. But he laid it all at the feet of the coaching staff. He held no holds barred when he was talking about Nathaniel Hackett, the previous head coach, and really just said it was the worst coaching he'd ever seen in the NFL. I'm pretty sure that they probably, calmed that down a little bit too. But that's what he said. Well, the Jets did not take kindly to that. As we know, Nathaniel Hackett is now the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers got his panties in a twist about it because we have to remember it. So there's a little history here for those. I mean, our diehard fans will know this, but our casual fans might not. Nathaniel Hackett was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. He was Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator for a few years there, and they got along two peas in a pod. That's exactly why he's in New York now, is because Aaron Rodgers wanted him there. So it's not that he's been his coach for 3 minutes and he's all of a sudden got to stand up for him. He has known Nathaniel Hackett for years. They're very close. So on NFL Network, Aaron Rodgers is like, you need to keep my coach's name out your mouth. And I'm like, oh, popcorn, like seriously. And so then Sean Payton is like, well, that's ridiculous. And then they started asking the other coaches. And this one was interesting. Nathaniel Hackett was asked about it, obviously. And he said something to the effect, I don't have the quote in front of me because that's boring. You guys could Google it. But his quote was basically that Sean Payton broke the coach's code, that there is a code that you can say, oh, they didn't perform well. The group wasn't bad, wasn't good, da-da-da-da. But you never just say, it was his guy and he sucked. And that's exactly what he did. So now the Jets are all in a tizzy. They're all going to protect poor little Nathaniel Hackett, who makes millions. We feel so terrible for him. And Aaron Rodgers is all mad. And I just really wish those two teams played each other this
year. Maybe we need to see if Roger will change that. He likes drama.
Can we flex an opponent, not just a game time? I think that would be so fun.
That would be great.
Sonia, what do you make of all of that? Is it just early in the season, shit talk? Did Sean Payton break a coach's code? Like, what is it?
I think he did break a coach's code. If anything, you think about, and I'm kind of referencing the Lions and Matt Patricia and how just horrible he was, and he did such an awful job. But Dan Campbell comes in and never mentions it. He kind of hints at it but never really says too much. And so the same could have been said here, but Sean just probably had to feel like, I'm back, and just maybe he did this a little bit to rally the team, just a little bit, kind of change the narrative, instead of, what's Russell and, making it all about that. But, maybe changing the narrative a little bit. But I think he did break a code in trashing the former coach. And not that you don't do it, because it is football and stuff gets said behind closed doors.
Sure.
A
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But, just don't bring it outside all the time. But I think Payton felt he kind of maybe had to do this a little bit, just kind of rally the guys just a little bit.
Right. So Graham in our chat said, first a pay cut, now defending coaches. Who is the person going around disguised as Aaron Rodgers? It's kind of true. Okay. So Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut is because he probably took a Jets fans, I don't want to hear it from you right now, but I'm going to say this. He probably took a look around that team, was like, we might need some new guys. You need some money. Here, take my money. Or
Mhm.
he looked around and said, I'm not winning these people a Super Bowl. Oh my gosh, right. It's so interesting. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but he took a significant pay cut. Good for him. He just was maybe tired of everyone trashing him all the time. I don't know. It was
Right.
You're never going to get love out of me, Aaron Rodgers. Sorry. It's not the way it's going to be. I will say this, though, that is interesting. What you mentioned about Matt Patricia. Quandre Diggs was interviewed, and he played for the Lions for a long time, and he said he had desperately had to get out of there because of the way Matt Patricia ran the team. The interesting thing, I think, is that he said he missed the way it had been run before and that sort of thing, but he never came out and said this dude. Well, he kind of did, but he hinted more around it. I think players get a little more leeway with that than coach to coach, peer to peer. I think that that's just a little bit different, but it's interesting to see. Then I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jenna Kelly. Jenna, don't kill me if it wasn't you. I'm so sorry. But said, oh, what? You guys are just figuring out that Sean Payton's kind of an asshole? Yeah, he always has been like that, right? He always has been kind of that, a guy with an edge. But you never really saw it because you had sweet little Drew Brees there. Just everyone is so nice and happy in the Saints. No, that was not the case. He is a hard-nosed coach. And so that comes out his mouth sometimes, for sure. Camden in our chat says, I maintain that Rodgers only went to the Jets to sell jerseys. I'm with you. I'm with you, Camden. I'm with you. Yeah, I know. Get over it, people. I don't like him. I don't have to like him. So
no, you don't. I don't either.
Yeah, right? Then, interestingly enough, it got a little spicy where it never gets spicy. Andy Reid's, his teams, his practices, I mean, it's Pollyanna City up there in St. Joseph, Missouri, where the Chiefs do training camp. It's like everyone gets along. We're all best friends. We all get great until Travis Kelce apparently decides to beat Travis Kelce. He managed to get in 2 fights in a week. It was interesting. I'm not real sure what was wrong with him, but he got into a pushing match. Let me see, with a cornerback. Let me find his name for me here. DiCaprio, I think it's Bodle is his name. Obviously not a name we all know, but he got into a shoving match. Then the next day, he threw a punch that landed to linebacker Jack Cochran. Apparently, Cochran tried to knock the ball out of his hand after he had caught it, and he did not take kindly to that. And so he turned around, cold cocked the kid. That does not happen in an Andy Reid practice. That is unheard of. And Travis Kelce has everyone convinced he's a silly little frat boy like Rob Gronkowski used to be. But Rob was funny. Travis isn't funny. But so it's like, what is happening? Then in Arizona today, was it today? Yeah, it was earlier today.
Yeah.
2 players, John, pushing, shoving. I'm like, you guys are in a dome. You're not even hot. It's hot everywhere. What are you guys fighting for? What's interesting to me, going back to the Chiefs, and Sonia, I'd love your thoughts on this. To me, the Chiefs have all the pressure on their shoulders. They have been to the AFC Championship, 4 or 5 times in a row now. They've won 2 Super Bowls in that time. They have the new golden child of the NFL, which is Patrick Mahomes, since Tom Brady's gone. Then they have this amazing head coach who is one of the greatest that's ever done it. They have to perform. They have to show up. I'm wondering if it's starting to crack a little for them.
Maybe just a little bit, but I don't think that's probably why Travis got in fights.
No,
I think Travis
was a little shithead. That's why.
Exactly.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree wholeheartedly. He was probably just being a little bit too mouthy to Travis. And, sometimes guys get tired of it. It's, their first time back in pads in a while. The adrenaline's going. And, yeah, sometimes things get a little touchy. Are they feeling the pressure? Maybe a little bit, I
Mhm.
think. I mean, they've had a lot of changes to their team in the past couple years, and it's hard to kind of bring guys back together and, put new pieces together. Their offensive coordinator is gone now, Eric Bieniemy,
Mhm.
who, really kind of designed and engineered that offense. So, yeah, lots of growing pains, I think. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of that, but overall, I think it's just tempers flaring, guys getting back together and pushing and shoving.
Mhm. I think
Um,
that people don't always realize what an anomaly the Patriots were, that they just always were so good. That doesn't happen. That type of consistency is insanely rare. You had a little bit in the 70s with the Steelers and the Cowboys. You had a little bit with the 49ers there for a while in the 80s and early 90s, but they didn't last the 20 years that
right.
Tom Brady and the Patriots did. And so people do, I keep hearing, especially living here in Kansas City, people keep saying, "Oh, this is a dynasty. We're going to go on forever." And Patrick Mahomes shut that down. He's like, "Well, I think we could be a dynasty, but I think you need to win 3 to be a dynasty." And
Yeah.
so, I think even the way he answered it, he sounded real optimistic. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's a happy guy,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And so, but still, it was like, if you read between the lines a little bit, he's like, calm down, people. We got to
Right.
see what's going to happen here. And I think you brought up a perfect point. Losing Eric Bieniemy is going to be huge for the Chiefs this year. That is going to be, we'll have to see how that, now this is Andy Reid's football team. We're not saying it's not,
Right.
but Eric Bieniemy was very good at what he did. They have been very lucky to keep everyone healthy for as long as they have. So there might be some nerves there, and understandably so. Like, I totally
Right.
get it. Do I still think that they're going back to the AFC Championship? Yep, I sure do. But
Mhm.
you never know. I mean, things happen, so we'll see. But
Exactly.
yeah. So anyway, it was a little spicy in the grand game.
It's been a
And
little.
thank you, because it was a little dull, guys. So we needed a little drama. That the networks needed something to talk about. It was getting pretty boring.
Exactly. And they were all over Sean and Nathaniel and
Oh,
Aaron.
yes.
Oh my God, they were
It
all over
was
it.
everywhere for sure. So, like we mentioned at the top of the show, coming up this week, we have the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We have the game on Thursday, then the
Yay.
inductees get their bus. And on Saturday, I believe that is when that happens. That is all streamed live on or shown live on television. It'll be great. Our very own Kate will be there the
Yes.
whole weekend. So she's going to have live coverage on our Twitter. Yeah, sorry, Elon, I'm still calling it Twitter. So on our
That's
Twitter
okay.
account, and it'll be on Facebook and Instagram also. So make sure you check that out. But let's talk about this game a little bit first. We know that, it's not going to be, a real game. It'll be really all the backups, and we talked about this a little bit last week on how really this is a showcase for the 4th and 5th stringers. Can they step it up? Can they do that? Is this a game you watch? Do you watch the first 10 minutes and switch? How do you feel about the Hall of Fame game? Because a lot of people think it's kind of silly. I love the tradition, but some people don't.
It's football. So I'm gonna watch. I mean, is it gonna get boring? Of
Yeah.
course. We all know that. And God forbid, please guys, don't put too much into this, okay? It literally do not put that much into this game. Don't be tweeting mad stuff, okay? Don't. Just enjoy it for what it is.
Right.
Preseason football, a chance to say, yay, it's back. Okay. Maybe watch the first half or something
This
like
game
that.
isn't going to tell you who's winning the Super Bowl, people.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
For
So
sure,
yeah.
for
So
sure.
just maybe watch the first half and just, enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kate brought up a really good point last week. She said, I just hope that some of these, 4th and 5th stringers don't go out there and actually end up getting hurt or hurt somebody because they're trying to
Right.
prove a point. It's like, remember what it is, guys. But really, the
Exactly.
weekend isn't about the football game. The weekend is about
No.
the inductees. And this is a pretty good class.
Very good class. This is a very good class. I was, looking at the names again because I'm old and forgetful, people. Leave me alone. But yeah, I was looking at the names again and it's just like, wow. Rondé Barber, Don Croyle, Chuck Howley, I'm sorry, Joe Kelso, Jarrell Revis, quarterback Ken Riley, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas. So excited to see him into the Hall of Fame. It's just like finally. And then DeMarcus Ware. And so I'm really excited about seeing all those. I was looking at the little preview of the video that they're going to show of them getting getting the knock on the door, which they're doing at their houses this year, which is just so fun and exciting. And the thing that cracked me up, and you guys will see it, is Joe Thomas's kid is like, "Thanks for choosing my dad." It was so cute, so adorable. But I mean, I was thinking about it, and I was just looking at the enshrinees and how long some of them have been on the ballot. 45 years. Some
Oh
people
my
have been,
God.
right? Like,
Yeah.
or 45 times. And when you finally get the recognition, a couple of them have passed on. And so, when you finally do get that recognition and you're alive for it, it
that makes me
really
so sad.
doesn't it?
I waited 44 years and you made me wait.
Finally knock on the door. Damn. But I mean, it's really moving, I think, to have dedicated your life to a sport and then now finally to be enshrined and that your legacy lives on forever. And so that's just really, I don't know, just really kind of moving to me. And I don't know why, but it's just so hard to get in, I think. And so, and that weight just is the killing part. So it's just really great to finally get that knock on the door, watch these guys get into the Hall of Fame. So that's beautiful.
They're there forever. Their bust is there forever. And it is such a big deal. And it's a huge deal to their family. So those gentlemen who aren't here anymore, that's a big deal to their family. They can, that's part of their family legacy too. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was curious about your thoughts about Darrelle Revis. So obviously there's a little bit, people are a little split on Darrelle Revis, but let me tell you this. I was so thrilled to see him get in because he was, without question, the best at what he did for a very, very long time. Yeah. The problem people had with Darrelle Revis, or at least that I heard that they had with Darrelle Revis, was the fact that he team hopped. That he went from team to team to team. He chased a paycheck. He chased a ring. He did all of those things. And so they didn't feel like he was loyal to any one team. In my mind, Darrelle Revis is a Jet and he'll always be a Jet and that's where he belongs and that's what he does. I think it's wonderful what he did. And I didn't mind the way he played, how he played the game, the business game of football.
Right. No, not at all. I mean, you're in the Hall of Fame for what you did on the field, not what team you went, what team.
Yeah, this isn't baseball. You don't get retired by a team. Yeah.
Exactly. You can team. You can do, that's okay. That's okay. That didn't change his production.
No.
He's still, the happen teams didn't change. Yes, he will always be a Jet to me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't matter, I don't think, what team you went to or, whatever. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. He played well. He earned that.
He played amazingly well. I mean, seriously, if you look at the stats he has, and I have them just right here. So let me pull that up really quick. So sorry about that.
No, yeah.
He, so Darrelle Revis, I mean, he was with the Jets. He was with the Buccaneers, the Patriots, then back with the Jets, then with the Chiefs. He was around. All right. We get it.
Yeah.
He was drafted 14th overall in 2007. And literally, I mean, you go through his accolades. He was the all decades team. He was the Jets MVP, 2 different times. He was 7 Pro Bowls. He was, had all of these. See, this kills me. Started left cornerback for New England and had 1 sack and 1 solo tackle in the Patriots 28-24 win over Seattle.
Sorry.
I know. Hurts. Anyway, but you know what? I was glad for him to get a ring. And I think that he really was the pinnacle of that position for a very, very long time. So I think it's so great. I think it's wonderful. So Camden in chat says, if Revis gets in, then Sherm definitely gets in. And that's hilarious because we were just
talking about him.
The show. I think so too. I don't know. And then Peter put right after that, he agreed with Camden, but is he a first ballot Hall of Famer though? I think that'll be the question because we're going to start hitting some players here pretty soon that all deserve to get in. And so how quickly they can get them in will be another thing. But yeah, the other one that's really fun, Sonia, for me, that I think is pretty, there's always one player that stands out at the ceremony. And this year it's going to be Joe Thomas being
Yes.
that close to Cleveland, having Cleveland in the
Mm.
Hall of Fame game, having, and all those Jets fans will be there for Revis too. I'm not saying that they won't.
Of course.
But Joe Thomas played for the Cleveland Browns. That's all he did. That was his home. That was what he loved.
Mhm.
And that, in a lot of years of really bad, they always had Joe Thomas right there.
Yes, they did.
I think that that's going to be a lot of fun.
That will be a lot of fun. I think that'll I think it'll just be fun just to watch him just go in there, interact with the fans. And I think it's just a proud moment for Cleveland anyway. I mean, they really don't have that much to cheer about. So they're all coming out and they're going to be loud and proud, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they deserve it. Joe Thomas deserves it. The city of Cleveland deserves it. So yeah,
absolutely. Now the one I'm most excited about to watch, because I love him. And you know why I love him? Because he's a defensive player.
I was about to say,
Mr. DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware.
Doesn't everybody love DeMarcus Ware? Obviously, he played from 2005 to 2013 for the Dallas Cowboys, and then 14 through 16 for the Denver Broncos. But here it is. He led the NFL with 20 sacks in 2008 and 15 and a half sacks in 2010. The dude was a machine.
He was.
And so happy. And such a smiley guy and so great. And then he would kick the ever-loving crud out of people on the field. I loved it. I loved everything about DeMarcus Ware. He's always been one of my favorite players.
Yes, he has been. And he's just a good guy, overall good guy. And then, I was watching, like I said, I was watching the videos and he was talking about why he chose Jerry Jones to introduce him. And, Jerry Jones, what else? But what he said really I was like, yeah, I get it. He's like, he took a chance and he drafted me and he didn't have to. And so because he did that, I feel as though, he allowed him in a way to kind of have this Hall of Fame career. He drafted him, got him picked, and now, gave him that chance.
I mean, DeMarcus Ware came from a small school. He came from Troy State. I mean, it's not like he went to Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan or something. You know what I mean? He came from the smallest ground, and they took him in the first round, 11th overall. I mean, it was huge, right? And so, that is. I mean, Jerry Jones deserves credit, as much as it hurts me a little bit,
right?
to see that he saw that in him, and then he played so well for him for so long. I know that he's an icon for the Cowboys fans, and I love that for them, and I love this for him too. I think it'll be so good. Now all the other players, Zach Thomas is great. Everyone is so good. I'm so glad. Ken Riley, he's been 35 years eligible, and he made it in. Good for him. I love that. Yeah. So, and then Joe, is it Klico? Yeah. So he was a defensive end, year of eligibility, 30 years, like you mentioned. Right? Chuck Howley, 45 years. Don Coryell, 36 years. So yeah. Rondé Barber, though, he's 6 years he's been waiting to get in. And if, in my opinion, you would have thought that he should have already been there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what took him so long to get there, but hey, he's finally there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good too. He was such a good player. He's like one of the first, like when I really started. No, I think that was more like when he was in college. That's when I kind of really started to pay attention to him. And so, so it's really kind of fun to watch him grow and then, be like, why isn't he in the Hall? But he's finally there. Yeah. Finally.
I know.
I've been waiting for that one.
There seems to be a couple players that you just like. Camden put in here. She's like in comments. She's like, "Where isn't in already?" That's weird,
right?
Like, I know there's a lot of players that are like that you just assume are in already, and they're not. So I think that is really fun too. I love it. So so everyone check out the Hall of Fame. The speeches are great. I've been a couple of times to the Hall of Fame. I went when my Walter Jones, who I love and adore for the Seahawks, got in, and it was such a good time because you really do see the fan bases of the people that are there, and they really show up for that, and it's great. And they put on a great show, and if you've never been to the Hall, just not during Hall of Fame weekend, just anytime, it is amazing. For a football fan, it is absolutely worth the trip. It's great. And then you can pop into Cleveland, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. So you can get them all done in one weekend. Super fun, right? Talk it out.
Right.
So, all right. So I hope all you guys, we'll talk about that game a little bit next week. So, what earlier up in our chat, I did notice a question and I do want to get back to it since we have a couple of minutes. So
Sure.
Peter in our chat had asked if Bieniemy is successful in Washington, does he finally
Ooh.
land a head coaching job? It's a damn shame he's not a current HC. And I agree. I don't know what the holdup there is. And people will talk about, his past 20 years ago when he got into a little bit of trouble and all of that. And that could be valid. I don't think that's it. But it is
Right.
interesting, was he under too good of a head coach? So people were giving Andy Reid all the credit for that. Why hasn't he gotten this job? And I think that's why he took this slight step up. I mean, it's not like most people think OC then HC, and now he's the assistant head coach. And so I don't know if that means he'll show, that he can do it more, whatever. But I do think if he can manage to fix that franchise or at least even make them markedly better, Sonia, I think that then he would move right up that
ladder
conveyor belt to HC somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe this gives him a little bit more time to see or to show that, yes, I can do that. Like you said, if he's able to fix Washington's offense and, if he's able to do that, I don't see why not. And I don't know what the holdup is. I think that, I think that, could he even possibly, if things don't improve a little bit, but not enough, could he possibly take Ron Rivera's job?
That was what I was wondering too, is like, was he brought in to help Rivera and it doesn't help? Then Rivera's time's got to be short there. I mean, it has to be. I mean, he has new ownership that will change that franchise's culture, but then what do you do with it? And so I don't know how long they'll give him otherwise. Camden said maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach. She said in our chat, oh, he does. He desperately wants to be a head coach and has made that very plain and clear in a couple of interviews that he does not know why he's not. And so, so it'll be interesting. But that's what I was wondering too. If he does get a head coaching job, will he just step into the office next door and see what happens there? And no, that's no shade to Ron Rivera. He had a disaster on his hands and has had a disaster on his hands and a nightmare of an owner and all of the scandal and everything that has happened. And so I feel for the guy, but now that you're on a little more equal footing, how much, leeway will they give him? I think that'll be really interesting. So, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, everyone. Yeah, it was a great question, Peter. And for any of you guys out there listening on Twitter or on Facebook, you too can have questions answered. Come over to YouTube when we are live. Good in our live chat room and chit chat with us. You can ask us questions, your comments, your thoughts. We love it when you disagree with us because then we can all chat about things. And it's good to just debate a point. We are going to have before the beginning of the season, we have a couple of shows. So obviously we're going to talk about the games the first couple of weeks, but then we have our annual Pick'em show, which is the Tuesday before the season begins. And that is where we give you all of our predictions. And I find it interesting that that's the week Kate goes on vacation every year. I think she's worried about being wrong. She's never here that week. And so she just hands us in her picks, but she doesn't have to tell us why. Drives me crazy. But anyway, so she'll be gone that week. But we do a Pick'em show. It's our biggest show of the year. It's a long one. It's usually about an hour. And we are going to debate all of these teams a little bit. But we're also going to do a show here in the next few weeks where we are going to do half our show with nothing but viewer questions. We want you guys to ask us hard questions. Ask us who, our teams are. You can ask us any question you want to, and we're going to be happy to answer those and chit chat with you. But we hope that you come onto YouTube so that you can ask us live. That would be so much fun. But all right, everyone, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday because we're here every Tuesday, 8:00 Eastern time. Thanks to Donkey's Place. We get to be here every single week, and we hope that you join us then. All right. Good night, everybody.